What is up, everybody? Welcome to our Army of the Dead non-spoiler review, the Zack Snyder Netflix film we are going to be discussing. We obviously saw it a little bit early. They were having some screenings here in Sacramento, California, so we were able to see it in a movie theater, which wasn't technically a private theater, but it was basically just us in there, which was pretty cool. For those of you who don't know, I am Jacob Bartley. This is Gio Ramos. We are both of Apocaflix movies. And look, Army of the Dead is one of these high-profile projects that we've been looking forward to, movie fans have been looking forward to. And so we figured, this is a hot topic, so we want to talk about it. It is going to be on Netflix next week, I believe on Wednesday or Friday. I'm sure.
It will be on Netflix Friday.
Yes. Yep. So we saw it a week early, which is freaking awesome. But yeah, we're going to just go through positive, negatives. Of course, if you don't know already, we got our Zack Snyder enthusiast here, Gio Ramos. So Gio, for those of, I need some DC artwork behind me. I mean, I got my Joker poster in front of me, which is pretty cool. But for those who aren't familiar, why don't you, maybe give a brief synopsis of the setup of the film, and then we can jump into what we thought and our positives and negatives and stuff.
Okay, so just a little bit of brief backstory. So for the longest time, Warner Brothers had the rights to Army of the Dead. It's funny, Warner Brothers and who's directing. So Warner Brothers had the rights. They couldn't really do anything as far as getting it past development hell. So they sold the movie to Netflix for like pennies on the dollar. And so Netflix decided, what do we have here? And Zack Snyder came in, made a pitch about what he wanted to do. Army of the Dead is essentially a hybrid genre movie. It's a zombie flick, but also a heist set in Las Vegas. And so the story follows a character called Scott Ward, played by Dave Bautista, who is approached by a rich guy, let's just say that, played by Hiroyuki Sanada, and is given an opportunity to take $200 million out of a vault in Las Vegas, surrounded by zombies. Zombie apocalypse has taken over Las Vegas and destroyed it. So Scott Ward assembles a team to go into Las Vegas, and what's described as a simple in and out is anything but that. I mean, this movie takes twists, turns. There are moments of suspense. There's moments of horror because it's a zombie. But something that really surprised me, and I'm sure surprised you, is that, and it's a word you don't hear very often in Zack Snyder's movies when you describe it, it's fun. It's
absolutely,
it's with the character interactions. So that's pretty much Army of the Dead in a nutshell.
Some people misinterpret the word fun. Like sometimes it can be used as the best way to describe a film. Like there's no other positives other than it was fun, but it can also be something that to add value to our thoughts on a film. Like, I love this movie. Great. I'm not talking about this movie specifically, but just saying any movie in general. I like this movie a lot. It was so much fun, plus a bunch of other things, which I think qualifies for Army of the Dead. So now that you guys know basically the gist of it, Gio, we saw it last night. We haven't. I gave you some hints on how I feel about it. You might have seen my tweet last night. So I'm curious. I like taking a night to process it. So I'm curious to see how you feel and how I feel. So go ahead.
Okay. So without spoiling it, we'll start with some positives. And the first thing I'll mention is, the movie lives up to the hype when it describes the way zombies are portrayed in this movie. I mean, they're not only fast and smart, but they're intelligent. They have some emotions. I mean, like some of these zombies display emotions, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a little bit interesting. And there's one zombie. What's up?
No, I was going to say the zombie mythology, if you will. Love it. Maybe arguably for me, the best part of the movie, the best aspect of the movie is the zombie mythology to me.
Well, right. Because, and I'm not going to go as far as to say we've never seen this on screen, because I haven't honestly seen as many zombie flicks as I wanted to.
I mean, you could even look at something like Game of Thrones, right? Are those zombies? White Walkers are basically zombies, right? And some of them have intelligence, So we've seen this before. The Will Smith movie,
I Am Legend.
Yeah, I Am Legend. Those zombies were
Great
different.
Example.
Those aren't the walking zombies that just are mindless and just bite you, you know? So they flipped the zombie genre on its head in this movie, like significantly.
Right. So there's one zombie king who kind of overlooks, and this is not spoilers, this is in the trailers. He's kind of the ruler of this community that's been established in what they call Las Vegas. It's, Vegas that's essentially been destroyed. So he is there, and the trailer shows a zombie queen that he's very, caring about and very affectionate about. And let me tell you, when the movie takes its time exploring these dynamics of the zombie community, it's some of the best stuff. It really is. And I want to give a quick shout out to Junkie XL. There are a couple of pieces, and I mean, what a year he's having. But there are a couple of pieces when the zombies are on screen, musical scores that just, wow, like it really, really stood out for me. So the first thing I'll say is zombies were really, really well done.
Absolutely. And I just think in general, it's fair to say I really, really like this movie. Like
Nice.
I was looking forward to it, but to be honest with you, I didn't watch any trailers. And I did that intentionally because, all right, obviously if it's a high profile, like comic book movie, Star Wars movie, whatever, that we talk about it on Apocaflix now, whatever.
Sure.
And so, but other than that, lately I found I enjoy movies a lot more when I don't watch all the trailers. I think I had seen the very first one for this, but I hadn't watched anything else since. And so going into it, I was excited, and I like Zack Snyder as a filmmaker. Most of his movies are good to great. So I trust him. I trust going into a Zack Snyder film that I'm at least going to have a good time. And it gave me that and so much more. I'm not going to say like all the dramatic elements were great, but that's not what you're looking for in this movie. And even when you're making the movie, you're not thinking, I got to make sure all the drama is the highlight of the movie. That's not the case. But some of that stuff worked. And I'll say the action, awesome. Just the scenarios that they are put in and they have to get out of, and the way the whole heist works and the horror element of the crew, all that stuff is handled very well.
Hey, no spoilers, but glow sticks.
Yes, glow sticks. Sequence. And no spoilers, but elevator door opening is all I'm going to say. There's a few moments in this movie that are okay. There's like 2 or 3 that I was like, I don't know if you heard me. I audibly gasped at one moment. I was like, oh my goodness. And another 2 moments. But there's one moment in this movie that had my jaw on the floor. And the last time that happened was Invisible Man. And that movie ended up being my favorite movie of the year, and heavily due to that one moment. Not saying this is going to be that, but when a movie, because we've seen it all, right? So when a movie can shock you like that, it just gave me so much adrenaline. And then from that moment on to the end of the movie, that adrenaline was just going through me. And what is filmmaking if not giving you an experience, a positive experience? And that's what this movie gave me. So if you can see it in a theater, I highly recommend seeing it in a movie theater, because I don't think I would have had the same experience just watching it at home. It would have been cool, but I wouldn't have, we're never give our full devoted attention when we're at home, So I had a great experience at the movie theaters, and I really like this movie a lot, actually.
And on that note, I want to bring this image up. I'm going to try and find it, because Zack Snyder did his own cinematography for this movie.
I saw that when it said director of photography and it said Zack Snyder. I'm like, wow, interesting.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, there are a couple of shots here, and this is not a spoiler. This is in the trailer, but this one right here of Vegas and the zombie, it's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer, but look at that shot right there. Like,
yeah, that's a cool moment.
He shot this in Atlantic City because they couldn't exactly go into Vegas and, destroy Vegas. So that's a little neat behind the scenes fun fact right there. But there are shots like this with Junkie XL's score that's just like deserves to be seen on a big screen in theaters. So the cinematography is great. And without spoilers, but this has been talked about quite a bit, the opening sequence. Now, I don't know how you felt about the Watchmen opening sequence with Bob Dylan's "Times They Are Changing," and you see the superheroes in slow motion. This one kind of rivals it for me. When you say that, okay, like I first off the music, the musical piece. Alison Crow did a duet. I forget the other gentleman's name of Viva Las Vegas, and then just
Was
seeing
that made for this movie?
yes,
Oh wow,
and
that's
then it
cool.
shows you again without spoilers. But I mean, come on now, it's an opening credit sequence. The outbreak of the zombies, and that's all I will say. The music, the shots, I mean, just the whole and Zack Snyder, he does a great job of this. Say what you will about his movies, the opening sequences are some of the best stuff in any of his movies. And this one, it does a great job giving us credits, but also giving us like taking us on a journey, giving us exposition, but in a fun way of getting us caught up. And
Well,
what's up?
it sets up the world is what it
Yes.
does,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it
Mhm.
gave you how long would you say it is? 3 minutes, 5 minutes? It gives you all the information you need for the story to start,
Yeah.
and so it worked well. Now, no movie's perfect, and I will ask you, Gio. I have maybe one or two negatives. Do you have any negatives yourself?
So, contrary to popular belief, I may love these movies, but when something does not sit right with me, I will absolutely talk about it. So, yes, there are a couple of things. Do you want me to
Yeah.
go first?
Um, well, I'll just say real quick. For me, I think Zack Snyder. I think he has a fascination with playing songs in his films, and I think he. I don't know this, but I'm just assuming he loves music, right? You could tell through his filmmaking that he loves music.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, I love this song. I got to put it in the movie somehow. And to me, the songs don't always fit the moments going on. And it kind of takes me out of the movie a little bit. But it doesn't ruin anything for me. But that was one of my negatives for me.
So it doesn't sit well, but it's not exactly Pitbull in the
No, no,
Aquaman.
no. That's terrible. Yeah, no, it's not like that. It look, I get what he's going for. All the songs have like a meaning for that moment, and it just to me, it's like overdone. He does it like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie, and it doesn't ruin the movie for me. And I will say, I think some of the dialogue was a little roll your eyes, but again, this is a zombie movie in Las Vegas where they're doing a heist, and it's like a battle against zombies. So, like, wouldn't you expect? We grew up with these 90s action movies and stuff, and there's cheesy dialogue in those. So you expect that. So that didn't ruin the movie for me anyway. There's no glaring big negative for me that ruins the movie for me at all. Just a couple nitpicks.
Okay. For me, okay, so they have a plan. They go on this dangerous mission. There are a couple of human characters where it's so obvious they have their own
Oh yeah,
agendas, motives, and they kind of just like, turn away and continue. And it's just like, it is so obvious and it bothered me. And it's just,
absolutely. Well, I know what you mean. So there's a few cliches in this. There's
yeah.
all of heist movies, right?
Hmm.
Few cliches, but also there's a few things that happen where it's obvious that some of these characters you cannot trust, and some of them are up to no good, and they're going to mess up the mission. It's
Exactly.
clear as day, and the main characters, the strong leaders, are just ignoring it, and they're like not addressing it at all. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a little bothersome. But again, it's like I don't really care. Like, it's fine.
Well, I mean, an argument can be made that you got to have those certain type of characters
Yeah.
because it, like, as much as we root for these characters to pull through and everyone comes out safely and all that stuff, sometimes human beings are going to be human beings. They have their
Yeah.
own sense of greed. It's like, yeah, we're going to go for this thing, but I kind of want to do more because the payoff will be a little bit bigger. It's just like, I guess it makes sense, but it just, I mean, for as much as we want to take these characters seriously and the storytelling seriously, there are moments where it's just like you're reminded, oh wait, this is a movie. Okay,
Yeah.
like things are going to happen a certain
Of
way.
course. And you got to do that for the entertainment aspects as well. And Yeah, I just wish that part wasn't as predictable. Like the
Sure.
cliches, I sometimes you can do a cliche, but then like you didn't see it coming. All the cliches were predictable to me. But there's some badass action though. You mentioned the glow stick scene.
Who?
What happens right after the glow stick scene with the characters involved? Badass. So
Mhm.
there's some of these actors that I didn't know, men and women, that I'm very excited to see in the future in future projects. So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Look, I haven't seen a lot of movies this year. I've seen about 6 or 7 uh, combined theatrical and streaming. And this is my favorite movie so far this year. I mean,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it definitely is. So, Gio, any last thoughts on Army of the Dead non-spoiler review? We will be doing spoiler discussions later on, but any
Yeah,
last
I could
thoughts?
literally. I mean, we could continue this for an hour, but we're gonna save some thoughts for the spoiler review coming up soon in Apocaflix now. But last thing I'll say is that Zack Snyder swung for the fences, and I'm gonna say that he did hit a home run for what this movie is, what it was trying to be, and what it turned out to be. I thought he hit a home run, and what's even better is that, like you said, this mythology, this world building, there is more coming that's on the way. There's an animated prequel called Lost
Absolutely,
in
yeah.
Vegas, and a lot of the cast, the ensemble, will return to voice their characters and give us more of what we saw in the opening sequence. And then there's Army of Thieves, a prequel with the safecracker guy, and I believe Natalie Emmanuel from the Fast and Furious movies, and Joe
Oh, wow.
Manganiello.
Okay. I am
Yeah.
so glad to hear that. Is it going to be live action?
Yes, that will be. It's already shot. It's done.
I am so glad you said that because you know who my favorite character in the whole entire movie is by a mile is the safecracker. The German, what is his name? The German
I
safecracker.
got it right here. I'm going to pronounce it. It's Matthias Schweikhofer.
Hey, that guy is going to be a superstar. The actor, he
He's a
is going to
German
be
actor.
a
Yeah.
superstar. He killed it. Best part of the movie, funniest character in the movie. I was smiling ear to ear every time he talked. Favorite character in the movie. Do you have a favorite
Yeah.
character? And then we'll get out of here.
For me, it's Dave Bautista. I'll say this quickly. I could see why he turned down James Gunn's role for the Suicide Squad with this movie. I mean,
Well,
there
this
are
is a leading
moments,
role too.
and there are moments when he delivers, some dramatic, emotional moments that really surprise me. And look, he may never be as big of an act as a movie star as Dwayne Johnson, but as far as who I put my money on to win an Oscar first, if this guy Dave Bautista continues working with these different kind of filmmakers and continue proving as an actor, hey, I in 10 years he could surprise some people or maybe less. So that's the last thing I'll say. I really love this movie. Can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, I liked it. And I showed you my rankings of my movies this year. I have it, and this isn't set in stone, but I like this better than the Snyder cut. Do you?
No.
Okay. That's fair.
No. I mean, come on.
But hey, the thing everything's fair. You know, any
Sure.
movie can beat your
Sure.
favorite movie of all
Yeah.
time. It's just
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
fair thing. So, I mean, it's a win-win for Zack Snyder, right? I put his other movie over his other movie, so it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
what a time to be alive for Zack Snyder fans. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So this should wrap it up for our non-spoiler review of Army of the Dead. Thank you, everybody, for watching this and tuning in. Gio, do you want to throw any people in any direction where we might be discussing this movie other times on your other channel?
Yeah, first off, for Apocaflix now, so the movie releases on Netflix next Friday, and I gotta assume we'll talk about it on Now the following Tuesday. At least not the whole episode, but probably part of
Yeah,
it.
spoiler discussion. So
Spoiler?
after it comes out on Netflix, gives everybody time to watch it, we'll do a spoiler discussion.
Absolutely, and that'll be on Apocaflix Now, Tuesdays live. So not this upcoming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. Expect to hear more Army of the Dead talk and where it could go in the future. We will have the spoiler discussions. But Jacob, thank you so much for having me on here. You guys can
Absolutely.
find me on Twitter at Grey Goose Jedi. I did share some more thoughts on my Twitter, excuse me. And I'm also at Fandom United on YouTube. You guys can catch me there. I have a separate review as well. And yeah, that's it.
Alrighty, and I'm Jacob Bartley. You can find me at Jacob Bartley 824, like you see right here. And yeah, check us out, like Gio said, on Apocaflix Now Tuesdays and not Marvel Rewind, excuse me, the Fandalorian Club, Marvel Rewind later in June for Loki. But right now we're doing the Fandalorian Club. We're doing the Bad Batch reviews later on today, this Friday, episode 4, I believe. We'll be talking that at 4 p.m. today, Pacific Standard Time. See you guys then.
Take care.